The spokesperson, Jeremy Michaels, says they are concerned about the safety of Brown Mogotsi after an alleged attempt on his life last night. The controversial businessman has been mentioned by several witnesses at the inquiry. Linda Mnisi is in Vosloorus, where a top ballistics expert is reported to have arrived to inspect the car Mogotsi was traveling in. Linda, very good afternoon to you. So we do know that Mogotsi is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission. His car has now allegedly been targeted and shot at. Where is Brown Mogotsi at this point in time?
Well, it's still unclear, Katleho, as to where Brown Mogotsi is, but we understand that police have been in communication with him about, him coming to give a statement related to the incident. But I just want to step out of shot before I bring in Linda Mnisi to show you, what is currently happening. Ballistics arriving, a top ballistics expert, Chris Mangena, who you would know from the Oscar Pistorius case. He's also worked on the Babita Diokaran case, among others, the Senzo Meiwa murder case. In fact, he is the one that is in the white suit that keeps moving up and down from the scene. If my memory serves me well, this is one of the most experienced ballistics experts that we have in the country, with at least, about 30 years of experience in the SAPS, and I've already counted at least 3 of the most high-profile cases that he worked on. You'd recall the case of Luke Tibbet, the toddler from Westbury who was shot. He also worked on that particular case, and in July 2023, he went to the DRC to assist with a case that involved a transport minister there who was found with a bullet wound to the head. And the allegation was that he was assassinated, but his findings were that that particular wound was self-inflicted. He also assisted in cases in the Ivory Coast, where about 45 people were shot. So it gives you a sense, Katleho, that the police have roped in one of their best to come and try and resolve this mystery that surrounds the shooting or the attempt on Brown Mogotsi's life. This is, like I indicated, someone who has in-depth knowledge on ballistics, but also a crime scene reconstruction specialist. So essentially, with the examinations that he's doing, he'll be able to tell from what angle this vehicle was shot at, and really under what kind of circumstances from a forensic point of view. So it gives you an indication that the police are taking this kind of incident very seriously. And I'll bring in now Linda Mnisi. Linda, I see you've brought one of your best to the crime scene. It shows, I was just telling Katleho now that it shows that perhaps you're taking this very seriously. I mean, to bring Chris Mangena.
Well, absolutely. We're not leaving anything to chance. We've roped in Colonel Mangena. He's helped solve, high-profile cases in this country. So we thought, let us rope him in to try and assist us to solve this particular case, the alleged attempted murder of Mr. Brown Mogotsi. Of concern is that he has not presented himself to this particular police station. He has been postponing, and we also reached out to him. Our police officers reached out to him to say, okay, if you don't feel safe meeting at one of our stations, then let's go to a place that would be most convenient for you, where you would feel more secured. So he has not responded to, give us a location, a possible location where we could meet him. But our investigations are continuing. You can see our ballistics experts. They're quite busy with the car that was allegedly shot at. They're doing their work, and our investigations continue, not only here at that particular crime scene where this alleged attempted assassination happened.
When I spoke to you earlier on, you said you wouldn't close this case, even if he does not, give a statement. And one of the things that will possibly give the police and the investigators a sense of what may have happened, is this process that is unfolding right now, because we know Chris Mangena to be a crime scene reconstruction specialist who will basically map out what may possibly have happened here.
Yeah, for the mere fact that there was an attempted murder, it becomes a state case. We are obliged to open a docket and investigate and get to the bottom of what really transpired. So whether or not Brown Mogotsi disposes a statement, an affidavit on what transpired last night, we are still continuing. We've got, a mandate to execute, to investigate, and get to the bottom of what really happened last night. But we are still urging him to really present himself, make himself available, so that we can get to the bottom of what really transpired yesterday. As I've indicated earlier, he alleges that, a group of suspects driving a white bikie were chasing after him, and they started shooting at him. So we just need more details, just to close all the loopholes, so as to continue with our investigations. But we are on the ground, our detectives are on the ground, crime intelligence on the ground. You can see ballistics experts continuing with their work.
I mean, it seems very much on brand for Brown Mogotsi not to cooperate with the police, given that earlier you did explain that even with the raid, he's still not come back to you. Some of the reasons that he's giving you as to why he's not presenting himself today, because he's a victim.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he doesn't feel safe or he's citing fears for his life, we've got the NPA Witness Protection Program. So it's a matter of just making yourself available, presenting yourself, engaging with the investigating officer to say, I don't feel safe, please put me onto the NPA Witness Protection Program. And, that could be, organized, and, processes would be followed, and so on. So it's quite shocking that, he's not cooperating thus far, but he is in contact with the acting station commander of this particular station, as well as the head of detectives here. They have been engaging him, and they're trying to get a statement because he is a victim of crime.
And it's just a statement.
It's just a statement. We need that statement, to be able to, close all the loopholes that, as I've indicated, get further clarity as to what it exactly transpired. And we hope that it's genuine, because, there's a lot of resources that we've roped in to try and solve this particular case, our ballistics experts and so on. So we are hoping that he will come to the party.
All right, that's Linda Mnisi indicating to us that they are still waiting for Brown Mogotsi to present himself. In the meantime, the police have brought in their best. They've deployed resources to try and establish what could have really happened. And all of this happening in the absence of Brown Mogotsi, or even his statement that basically, gives an indication of what may have possibly happened. But it seems the work continues, and one of the most critical pieces of evidence will come from this process that is unfolding right now, because earlier on, Linda Mnisi was telling us that all the exhibits were picked up from the crime scene, not necessarily going into detail as to what kind of exhibits, but, if there were any bullet casings at the crime scene, those would have been picked up. And this team that you see here is the team that will be working on them after assessing, of course, the vehicle, and after having visited, I think, also the crime scene itself. So there's a lot of measurements that are taking place, and in fact a lot of examinations that Christopher Mangena and his team are doing. And like I indicated, they are still urging Brown Mogotsi to present himself, because after all, this is just a statement and he is a victim.
Well, most certainly, Linda Mnisi, out in Vosloorus as those ballistics teams continue to find any kind of evidence, and as we wait for Brown Mogotsi to come in and bring in his statement.